Well, hello and welcome to Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. A little bit of a more complicated, more touching one today, I'm sure, because today we're going to be thinking about Jewish funerals. Now, we've been thinking about Jewish life after death with Olam Haba, so I know that this might be one that's quite upsetting for you. So if you think that, because obviously it's a sensitive topic, then just let your teacher know, and I'm sure they can find something else for you to do. That said, I think it's really important that we do think about this and think about the way that a community might support somebody in a difficult time. And we're going to think about how Jews support people in difficult times as well. So we're going to look at the Shiva mourning rituals as well. And lighting candles is a big thing about that. I appreciate this might be quite a difficult one for some of us. So if it is, then please just let your teacher know and just stop this clip. That said, you need to grab a pen and paper, and we're going to continue in my usual style. So grab pen and paper, and here's the cheesy intro music. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now you're back is just to have a quick thought about what do Jews believe about resurrection. Now, if you remember back to the last clip, you'll realise that they've got quite a varied view on it. So what do Jews believe about resurrection? Okay, now you may have discovered this last time as well, but the Jews that do believe in resurrection believe in a bodily resurrection as well. So Jews get buried with their head facing towards Jerusalem. So wherever they are in the world, that's what happens. So they believe that if they believe in a resurrection, which not all Jews do, as we spoke about last time, then they believe that it may come around when the Messiah comes. So this is our title today. It's Mourning Rituals in Judaism, Mourning Rituals in Judaism, and we're going to explore what happens during Shiva in Judaism. Okay, so get that down. As usual, pause this clip where you need to. So a good outcome would be if you can say what Shiva is. Great if you can explain what the customs of Shiva are, and even better if you can evaluate if the customs of Shiva are actually helpful for Jews mourning or not. Now, this will only make sense when you understand what the word mourning means, which is what we're going to look at in a moment. So we're going to explore what happens during Shiva in Judaism. So there's a number of things then that we're going to do during this clip. We've got the definitions of some really key words. We've got some media clips to watch. There'll be a grid for you to complete, and you can do a bit of research, which again, it's going to be structured. Everything you need will be in the description below, linked in the Google Drive, so please access that, followed by a short reflection. Okay, so let's just think about what we understand by the term mourning. So you can see 4 images behind me. Mourning is obviously about being upset. And I've got 3 definitions of the term mourning behind me here. It's to feel or express sorrow or grief, but it's a little bit more than that, because grief is about lamenting for the dead. It's about remembering somebody's life and being sorry that they're not with us anymore. And we have to show the conventional or usual signs of sorrow over a person's death. So let's just get a definition of mourning down. It could be one of those 3, or it could be a definition within your own terms. So mourning is. Okay, so there are some other key terms. Again, I wouldn't get hung up about being aware of all of these, but they do come up during today's lesson, and I'd hate for you to not have an idea what we were talking about. So these are here for you to flick back to. So the onan then is the immediate relative of the deceased. So for the example, if my wife died, then I would be the onan. The Kaddish is a meaningful prayer that expresses and reflects the values of the Jewish people that's said. The Yahrzeit is a special day of recognition that that people say a year after the anniversary of the death of their parents. And the Shevra Kadisha is an organization of men and women who whose job it is to look after the deceased. Okay, so there's just some terms for you to be aware of. Again, pause anything you need to as we go, but I don't want to dwell on some of this. So I'd like you now to try and work out what you think the term Shiva means. Now, I know that Shiva is also a Hindu god, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about something totally different. So have a look at these images and see if you can work out what you think the word Shiva means in Judaism. So Shiva then, if you can define this in your books, Shiva begins immediately after the burial and concludes for a short time of mourning 7 days later. It's normal to observe Shiva in the home of the deceased, and the family should be together during this time. So you've got the idea there of the burial, and then for 7 days the family stay in the home. What we're going to do now is we are going to look at a quick media clip. There are some questions which are linked in the description below. If you access those, the questions will be there to help you with this clip. And so I'd like you to watch this clip and answer the questions on the sheet.
Jewish mourning customs are specifically designed to make sure that the mourner has time and space to grieve, away from their daily routine, and to help you, their friend, make sure that they are comforted and sustained. Often while a Jewish mourner is at the funeral, community members are preparing a space, usually a family home, for the period known as Shiva. The mourners stay inside to reflect on the life of the person who died, receive visitors, pray, and grieve. Mourners are not expected to entertain, rather the opposite. The community provides meals and a comforting presence for the mourners during this period. Don't wait for an invitation. It's an important mitzvah to visit your friend at the Shiva home after they've lost their loved one. You may witness some customs that seem unusual, such as the covering of mirrors, the mourner sitting low to the floor, a tear in their clothing, or the burning of a 7-day candle. Any questions?
When do I visit?
Shiva is traditionally observed for 1 week following the death. If the family hasn't announced or publicized a list of visit times, call the funeral home or synagogue, or give a call over to the house before stopping by.
What should I bring?
Find out if there is a coordinated effort of meals being prepared for the family that you can participate in. Otherwise, a basket of fresh, uncut fruit is a thoughtful and practical addition to any Shiva home.
What should I say?
You don't have to say anything. It's enough to be present. Let the mourner set both the pace and tone of the conversation. Once the mourner speaks to you, you can offer condolences and, if it feels right, share memories of the deceased. Elements of the Jewish mourning process continue beyond the 7 days of Shiva, 30 days for most mourners, and 11 months for those who have lost a parent. It's important for you to be supportive of your friend and help keep the memory of their loved one alive for the years to come. Some ways to do this are by making a charitable donation in the name of the deceased to a cause important to you or to them, contacting your friend near holiday times when they might especially be thinking of family, or attending synagogue with them for the anniversary of their loved one's death.
Okay, brilliant. Hopefully you've got that done now. So a good outcome, we say, if you know what Shiva is, and hopefully we're really clear on that now. Great if we can start to explain what the customs of Shiva are. Now, the next thing we're going to do is you need to grab an A4 bit of paper. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to fold that into a 6-part booklet. I know it says 5 parts because the front part will be the title. So what you're then going to do, okay, once you've seen how I fold this up, is you're going to label it with the each section is going to have one of those sections behind me. Okay, so you'll need to come back to this after I've done the clip. I will pull this back up. So let me first of all show you how to make that booklet. Okay, so this is how to make your 5-part leaflet. It's really straightforward. What you do is you get an A4 sheet of paper like this, and then you fold it in half in the landscape format, so it's like that. What you then do is you then fold the first section over, so it's almost like a square. Okay, if you see there, you've got a section there which is a little bit flappy, and that becomes a square. Okay, which leaves you this section here, which if you just fold backwards, you've then got a leaflet which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 sections. Hence you've got your front page for your title, which will be about Shiva, and then you've got your inside pages for the 5 bits of information that you need. Really that straightforward. Let me demonstrate once more for you. You've got your A4 page, you fold it in half landscape, you fold the first section over so it becomes a square, and then you fold the second section backwards, and there you go. Okay, so hopefully that's now made. So in one of the sections you're going to label it Jewish attitudes to death, and the next one immediately after Jews die, in the next one in the funeral service, in the next one straight after the funeral service, and the next one the first 7 days of Shiva. What you're going to need to do is to look at the description and find the file which has got those titles within it. Do a little bit of information in each of those sections of the booklet, maybe with a little diagram as well. So read the information that you've got available to you, and let's get those booklets complete. This should take you about 10 minutes or so. It's not meant to be a huge piece of work of art, but it will give you an idea of what happens during this Jewish commemoration. Okay, so hopefully now you've got that done because you've come back to me. So we said a good outcome would be if you could say what Shiva is. Great if you could talk about the customs of Shiva, and even better if you could say if they're useful or not. So the next thing I'd like you to do is to draw a grid that looks like that. Or again, I've got one on the system for you that you can access. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a little bit of research for each of those squares. So it's something similar to what you've just done, apart from it's not in a booklet form. And this is different information, so you need to find the worksheets. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the information sheets available to you and just summarize down maybe 3 or 4 points for each of those 4 sections, and that will give you everything you need for the conclusion of the work we're going to go on to. So just look at the information grids now and summarize that down to 3 or 4 points for each of those sections. So this is a really straightforward 4-mark question. All you need to do is do 2 points that are expanded. So 2 one sentences won't do here. Use all your knowledge and remember to read the question fully. If it specifies that you need to talk about influences, say how this concept changes a believer. Give yourself 4 minutes to answer this question. Try and write in a full paragraph and make it as cohesive as possible. Pause me now while you give this a go. Okay, so let's see how this is marked. The first thing you need to do is to work out if you've answered the question. Is your topic information correct? If it is, then you gain 1 mark per short point, and then a 2nd mark if you've expanded your thinking. Again, if you've been asked to include an influence, have you done it? If not, your mark will be limited to a maximum of 2. So give yourself a mark and just check what targets you could set yourselves for next time. Okay, so today then what we've done is we've explored what happens during Shiva in Judaism. We said a good outcome would be if we knew what Shiva is. Great if we could explain what the customs of Shiva are, and even better if you can evaluate if the customs of Shiva are useful for Jews mourning or not. Do we think that those customs, those things that Jews do we think that actually help them with the loss of a loved one? So finally then, behind me, a linking exercise. What I'd like you to do is to write them out or work out which ones you would match to which. So you've got the key terms on the left with the definitions of those key terms on the right. Give it a go, send it to a friend, have them check it over, and just make sure that you know which ones link to which. It's not massively difficult if you've paid attention with the rest of what we're doing today. Now, can I say thank you very much for your time this half term. I'm now done between now and the end of half term. So take care of yourselves. God bless you. Stay safe. Wash your hands. And I'll see you soon.